We're live.
You good? Okay. Well, welcome everyone to our Wednesday night course spotlight. I am Kathy Lawson, our Chief Knowledge Officer, and I love these because it's always our time to come together and learn from one of our amazing course creators. So that's what's going to happen tonight. And let me tell you a little bit about Pastor Cynthia. I was reading your bio, it's amazing. So Cynthia Hurley is a financial educator, licensed insurance broker, and founder of Make Sense with Your Money, Inc., an organization dedicated to empowering underserved communities through financial literacy and wealth education. With over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry, she has helped clients rebuild credit, start businesses, and create pathways to financial independence. Cynthia's passion is to teach people how to break financial barriers, build generational wealth, and transform their lives through education and empowerment. And tonight, she's going to talk to us about her course called Build Wealth with Group Homes. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Pastor Cynthia, and let you tell us about your amazing course.
Okay, I just tried to share my screen. Okay, there we go. I think we're here. Okay, can everybody see? Everyone can see?
It's coming on. There it is. There it is.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to say thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be a part of this amazing platform. And I want to thank everyone over at TGD, The Great Discovery, for allowing us as creators to be able to, share our expertise. Okay. And tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you a concept that many may be familiar with, but it's something that I've been doing for over maybe about 15 years. And it's called group home wealth. And I want to share with you how you can build wealth through shared housing, through transitional housing, But before I do that, I just want to share with you what gives me the right to be able to, you know, uh, share how I became knowledgeable in this area of expertise. I know that you did share a little bit about my bio. I'm just going to highlight a few points. That I'm the founder and CEO of Make Sense with Your Money, which you've already noted that. Also, the founder of Superhero Academy, which is an online platform, of course, for online courses showing people how they can, you know, uh, elevate their lives, basically, financially. I'm also a recipient of the President Biden Service Award, and I'm a licensed broker with over 20 years of experience. And basically, my 20 years of experience gives me the knowledge to be able to share what I'm about to share tonight. Okay. So tonight I'm going to be talking about group homes. Why? Well, first of all, housing housing is in great demand. Why? Because of rising rents and homelessness, and people are being misplaced because they're not able to afford the high rents, and the way that the housing space is being transformed. And because of that, okay, uh housing is needed. All right, housing is needed, and this is not something that just happened now. It's actually been happening and transitioning for a couple of years now. And I don't know if many of you pay attention to what's going on in the news, but homelessness is widespread across the country. People now are living in what is their trailer, I think they call trailer homes, but they're living out on the street. So they actually have these trailer trucks, if you will, mobile trucks. That's what I'm saying. And they, they're parked out on the street, and this is how they are living. Some people are living in tents, and these are not people that you may think that, well, how did they end up that way? These are people who have met hard times, and they're just unable to be able to afford to have housing. And when you research the demand, right, and looking up the statistics, there's a housing shortage, okay, with over 7.3 million uh, units, right? Which is for low income housing, but it's a low income housing, it's a shortage. And they're not building enough of them to sustain the need that is widespread nationwide. All right. We're looking at a homelessness crisis whereby this is now at this point in time the highest increase on record. All right. And this was recorded back in 2023 and it's only gotten higher. Right. Now, one population that is really feeling the grunt of this is the aging population. It says that the aging population will make up 20% of those who will need group homes by the year 2030. You understand? So group homes, which is another word for transitional homes, and also supportive housing is on the rise. Over 4.5 million people are on waiting lists for supported housing programs nationwide because the demand is too high. So it is projected to grow by 300% by the year 2030 because of affordability shortages. So who needs group homes? Well, seniors need group homes, veterans need group homes, women in transition, youth aging out of foster care, people re-entering the community from prison, individuals recovering from addiction, domestic violence survivors, mental health supported housing. All of these people are in need of group homes or either shared housing. All right, and I'll get more into it in a minute with the shared housing. But what makes this particular business profitable? Well, first of all, multiple streams of income you can make from just one property, right? It allows you to have a consistent monthly revenue, right? And in this particular type of business, you have low vacancy compared to traditional rentals, right? You're able to partner with the city, depending on what type of community you serve, whether you can have social service funding or even private paying clients. And you can get started with this type of business by renting a house or owning a house. And it is recession proof. Okay. Now, the type of money that can be made with going into this type of business, it varies. It depending on what type of community you serve and also the type of housing. All right. A single property can gross between 5,000 and 25,000 per month. But like I said, it depending on the number of residents you have in your house, the funding source, it depends on the agreement that you have with these individuals, and it also depends on the type of housing. And in the course that I have, Build Wealth for Group Homes, it breaks down all of this. It shows you what type of housing offers the most money. I'll give you for an example, veterans. They have a program for veterans where the monthly pay for a single veteran ranges from $1,500 to $2,500 per bed. Okay. It all depends on the community. So when you have a one-family house, if you have a 4-bedroom, you're allowed to have 2 residents in 1 room. Okay. The funding source can be, what the individuals receive monthly, or it can also be in addition to Medicaid, because sometimes Medicaid, participate in some of the costs that has to be covered, so it all depends on how you set up your model. Again, this is broken down and is also explained in my course. Now, why is this great for beginners? Well, number one, you don't need real estate experience. You don't need to own a property. Renting is allowed. You don't need to be a licensed social worker, right? And it depends on how you want, because there are levels to this. You can start with one home and you can scale it from there, and you can build it into a legacy business for your family. Now, I want to share my story real quickly. I think I have a few more minutes. I want to share my story as to how I got into this type of business. I was into real estate. I own a couple of properties. And when the market fell, I was trying to get rid of these properties because I just didn't want to be stuck with them. And a friend of mine called me up and said, Cynthia, I need you to meet somebody because they're looking for a house and they got these women and they want, and I was like, listen, I don't care. I was trying to sell these properties, but I was unable to. So when the lady offered to rent them, I said, okay, long as I can make some money, I'll do it, because I had to pay the mortgage. Well, anyway, I met this lady who happened to be a pastor. I was not a pastor at the time. And she looked at the 3 homes that I had, and she was like, listen, I have a program. I can put these women in. These are women from prison. And she went on and on and on. All right, fine. Signed the lease, everything. Well, I put these women in this property. The lady who was the owner of the program disappeared. Come to find out, she was abusing these women, stealing their money and all of that kind of stuff. And I ended up with these women because I found out later that she ended up going to jail for white collar crimes, and she was doing all kind of stuff that I didn't know, all underhanded. But these women were left in my house. So now I'm panicking. I'm like, I need to get these people out my house. So when I went to the house, there was a girl who was running the program. And when I walked in, she looked at me and she said, Cynthia, she said, I got something to tell you. And this was before I could tell her anything about what I found out about their boss, because they didn't even know. She said, I just want to tell you that, she said, we've been being mistreated. She said, thank you for letting us in your house, but I want to tell you the secret about this woman. She rips people off. She rents out their houses. She don't pay them the rent, and I don't want her to take advantage of you. Could you please help us and take care of us, because we don't want, and she goes on and on and on. And that's how Houses of Malachi got started, because these women, they begged me to help them and take care of them and not kick them out of my house. And they taught me how to run the program. And I ran this program since 2008, and I was able to get several other ones just from the start of that. So that's how Houses of Malachi, and that is the name of my group homes. And we service women who suffer from homelessness, mental illness, drug addiction, from prison. It's like a melting pot. And I basically help these women, bring them from despair to hope, how to re-enter society. Okay, so this is how I got started. So I'm saying all that to say that who people say, well, oh, nobody's not going to rent me their property. Yes, they will, because I was one who rented mine to this woman, not knowing that she was going to rip me. Well, I guess she was going to try to rip me up. I don't know what her plans was, but God removed her out of the way. Okay. And that's how I ended up with Houses of Malachi. And I'm telling you, it was the best thing I ever did. I mean, these women, they bring me joy. Their lives have been transformed, and it's just a joy. So everybody may not want to deal with that population, though. You know, they may want to have another population. So why is shared housing, why is it a legacy wealth strategy? Well, residual income, right? You get to own the assets. But not only that, you have community impact. I have relationships with, all of the politicians and the police department, and people, when they're part of a cause, they feel good. They want to come and help you. Scalability, you're able to duplicate the same model. And it's a long-term demand, and it can be passed on to your children, right? So how is all of this in the course? Of course it's in the course. Group homes, I show you how do you find the property, legal and zoning essentials, like what area you able to go in. You're able to go into any area, but I tell you what to look for, how to structure the business, where do you get your funding, right? What community you want to serve, how do you get the population, how did all of the paperwork, the leases, contracts and agreements. You can partner. I was partnering with the Department of Homeless Services for the New York State, and this was back, 8 years ago, because they didn't even have enough housing to house these people. So I partnered with the city of New York, and so it's needed. Now, some of the common misconceptions of this is that, oh, you need a lot of money. Many start with, no, you don't need a lot of money. What you need is the knowledge of how to start. Okay. You don't need a special license. Now, if you want to scale to another level, which is called, if you want to start dealing with the clients where you are, given the medication and different things like that. Not even that. It depends on, they have different levels. And I explain all of that in the course. You do not need a license to operate this type of business. Only when you are, oh my God, it's, if you want a license is when you want to do, I can't even think about it, it's in the course. But when you want to go to the highest level, there's a level where you're doing everything for the client. when that person transitioning, you doing everything that requires a license. And I'm sorry, I don't even remember. It come to me before I finish. You don't always need a staff. I started with no staff. I actually worked with the women that was part of the program. That was really interesting. But you can actually you will. I did not leave these women alone. It was only me, but the women, out of the staff, out of the women that I had, I was able to pinpoint who would be able to help me to run this home. And I'm telling you, they was all hands on deck. And of course, I had cameras, to make sure that nothing wasn't going on. But it depends on, these are older people. So some of them, they just need a nice place to stay. They're not there to try to mess up anything. They just need a place to stay, and they want to be able to contribute in any way that they can in order to make that house safe. All right. Only nonprofits can do this. No, that's false as well, because you can operate as a nonprofit and you can operate as a for-profit. I operated as a nonprofit. Okay, that's how I operate, Houses of Malachi. So I'm able to get, of course, donations from Target and Marshalls and Home Depot and all of the rest of them, because they like to champion your cause. I show you how to get donations from them. I show you how to write them letters, all in the course. And they actually send you gift cards. Home Depot will go and, sometimes one time they provided me all of the materials that I needed to open up an additional house. So, companies and organizations are ready to jump on board. Now, these are the ones that do not require a license. Reentry is from the prison, sober living, senior living, halfway homes, youth at risk, HIV, veteran housing, single men and women, mothers and children, domestic violence. All of these do not require a license to operate. They do not require a license, all right? To rent or to buy. Well, if you're not in a position to buy a property, then you can look for property owners that are willing to lease. I know that that's plausible because I was a homeowner that was willing to lease. I only did that. I just didn't know that it would actually turn out to be an opportunity for me. But you let them know up front what you're using the house for, and you'd be surprised how many people will allow you to do that because they want to champion your cause. Of course, you take out your renter's insurance, right? And sometimes you can lease. I've helped a lot of people do this. Sometimes they start out by renting, and then the owner may give them a lease with option to buy. There's different ways on how you can do this by working with the owner of the home. And this is another thing that I teach in my course. You look for people who are selling, what is it? Is for sale by owner, and you'd be surprised, what type of agreement you can make with those people who are selling. You just don't know once you tell them the story and what you want to use it for. Now, I always, encourage that if you're going to get into this, you want to know your numbers first. All right. You got to know what population you want to serve. Who is it that you want to serve? All right. Because it's going to, now, am I doing this for the money? No, I'm not doing this for the money. Obviously, I could have actually kicked those women out if I wanted to, but they begin to tug at me. And it's a ministry that I happen to fall in love with. So it didn't start out for the money, okay? But it is lucrative and can be lucrative if you structure it accurately, all right? So with these programs, you can partner and to receive grants that'll sustain you for like a year or so, or however you structure it. You can also choose to, each individual, they are required to pay in order to stay. All right. So then that's when you can actually become, your organization becomes the recipient or the payee from their monthly funds, and as you begin to charge them, you decide on what to charge. And all of that is in the course, 2 residents per room. Like I gave you an example for veterans. Veterans, you can, I'm gonna just use the minimal amount, $1,500, right? $1,500, you got a 6-bedroom house. $1,500 times 6, that's 9,000. Of course, you have to make sure you calculate your expenses, your mortgage, utilities, repairs, and all of that. So these numbers are based off of a 2-family home. I believe mine was a 2-family when I started as well. So just to give you an example of the numbers, and all of that is in the course on what pay options and, is available for each community. All right. In the program, in the course, right? I show you how to reach out to resources and organizations that will fund the clients to you. Once you decide who is it that you want to serve, right? And show you how to set up a meeting. What do you say? How do you speak to them? If you decided that, okay, you want to go into a population and, you don't know how to interview who's going to run the house, all of that is included in the program because you want to be able to operate it. And in this program, I show you how to go from step to step so that you can build it and it can run as a system. Because once you set it up as a system, it will run itself. But I always encourage people to get to know your people, your community. Even though you may have somebody else running it, you don't have to run it, but you want them to know you, right? I think I got 8 more minutes, right? So if you're ready to create impact and income, if this is something that you think that you want to do, you think you want to make an impact, you want to leave a legacy, I invite you to check out the course. The course is $299. It comes with everything. I mean, like it's everything that you need to scale it, everything that you need to grow it. And that's my website below that again to basically, just fact proof of, what my expertise is. And that's it. I'm done.
Well, thank you.
I
That
was
was
trying to move fast. I was.
no, I have so much information, but so great, so impactful, and the story of how you got started, so moving, lovely, and so inspirational, right? Because it's just how things come about, right? And how God intervenes and things like that. So thank you so much for sharing it. Does anybody have questions or comments they'd like to ask or make or?
Just a great job, Cynthia. Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Anybody else? I have a question for you, Cynthia. On senior living, are you talking about seniors that don't need like assisted living, or do you? I mean, I'm just curious.
Wait a minute. Let me turn up I didn't hear you. Say that again.
For senior living, for the population of senior living, would those be homes that would be for people that need assisted living or even nursing home living, or is it just like seniors wanting a place to live that
No.
don't need like special help?
Well, assisted living facilities as also set up as group homes as well.
Yes, I know that there are some like that. So I was just curious, when you say senior living, are you including that in there? Like assisted living for seniors and,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And,
Because
I would assume maybe one of the populations that need a license would be if you were doing a full-on nursing home group.
yes,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
that's the ones that need. But you have some senior living facilities, that's the word I was looking for, but the senior living facilities that don't need a license, it all depends on the services you add
Right,
on.
right, yes.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I just wanted to get clarity on that. Okay, so go ahead, Gregory.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. Loved it. I'm here in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. My question is, what type of background check are you doing on the staff that's running the home? And are you mixing male and females in the same facility? That's one of my questions.
Okay, so no, I do not mix them. My population is strictly women. At one point, I did partner with another group home. And so when he had women, he would send me women. When I had men, I would send him men, but I never mixed the two. Okay. Now, in terms of a background check, I vet the people that I'm considering to hire to run the group home. Okay. Now, fortunately for me, my husband is a cop. He's retired, so he has the system that I can run to check these people out because you want to vet them. And another thing that I've been fortunate enough to do is when you get the population and you decide who you're going to work with, sometimes you can just maybe check out who is there and you see who's responsible. I don't know. I've been able to do that with a lot of the homes that I have, and just test them out and see how they run it. You know, don't give them full responsibility, but I said, I need you to check this out. I mean, watch over the house for the night, because people like to be responsible, right? And I just kind of watch it. And a lot of the houses that I have, I've been able to use the ones that are inside that are part of the program.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right, Casey.
Yes. So how involved are you in the operations on the daily?
Okay, when I first started, I was involved because I had to learn.
Mhm.
But after I learned, um, I wasn't as hands-on, but because I was shaping the program and I'm still a part of it because I teach Bible study, I also give workshops, bringing in other organizations to teach these women. So I'm involved in terms of, helping these women to create a better quality of life for themselves.
Right.
On a day-to-day basis, yes, because I want the women to know who I am. Am I there every day? No, but I want them to know who I am. Even though I may have somebody running the program, I still want them to know. Some people may not choose to get involved like that, but me, I want them to know who I am.
Right, because
To build a
that
relationship.
helps to make that connection too. Because there's a neighbor that they came in, they bought the home next to us, and as soon as they moved in, within like a month, they added on, and we were like, "What's going on over here?" Because as soon as they added on within that time frame, we thought they couldn't have gotten a permit that fast because the house was, it was 1 month. And then next thing you know, now these people were coming. But we learned that they were veterans. And
Um,
so, we were fine with that. And for the most part, things were decent. And
mhm.
so there was one of the veterans who would come out and he'd be out in the front all the time. And he talked to myself and my husband. And so one day, he was just giving us all the information. And so he told me, they're charging us $800 a bed. You believe that? And I'm like, oh wow, so I can see where it can be a great opportunity to do something, one, to give back, because that's the part. If you can do something like that to give back. And I had another friend who ran one with with young people, teenagers,
Okay.
but that's a whole nother handful.
That's a whole nother handful. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So, but it's a great, thank you for sharing this, because we've thought about it over and over again, and just real estate and rentals and all those things
See, I did the
that
rental.
add up. Yeah.
Yeah.
After
And
a
I
while,
was
you're like,
that rental is something too, it depends on who you put in your place. But I just the rental was like a headache for me.
yeah,
But it's not, I didn't start out by wanting to do this. It's just something
right.
that God put in front of me. And he said, now I want you to do it. So I've welcomed it and I really enjoy it.
It
I
sounds
must
like it
say.
works. That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cynthia. It was a really great presentation, really great. What a wonderful service, to be able to gift this to people and help them with a home and, just with a future essentially. So how lovely. So we put the link in chat, and she's got her link right here for the course, Build Wealth with Group Homes, and you can find it on the platform. All right, so with that, thank you all for attending, and tomorrow
Yes,
night
thank you.
we're going to be doing some more affiliate training. So